Hello! Sorry that took a second to realise that I was in fact live. It is me, I'm Tom Allsopp, I'm a poet, and it has been a whole month since the last time we were all together to share some poems and some giggles and whatnot. So I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a good month. I hope you've got a little beverage, chin chin. And yeah, so what a month it's been. It's been a bit crazy. We went back to school. That happened. You know, it's fine. We're all there and everything, and it is what it is. We've got so used to strangeness and newness that everything just feels. I'm sort of numb to it feeling unusual. Really, I'm just like, yeah, it's completely fine. Other than strange. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you've been well. If you're just joining me for the first time, I'm Tom Allsopp and I'm a poet, and I'm based in the mighty Hensford in Staffordshire, and which is lovely. And I am a poet and playwright and do all sorts of things. Really, I'll do anything you like. You name it, I'll show up and I'll have a crack. So I started making videos on YouTube during lockdown, and now I'm started to do a monthly sort of live read some poems out, and it's people like it, largely my parents, but you know that's fine too. Hey, mum and dad. Although I think last month they were too busy to be watching. I think they've got other plans, which is perfect. It's perfectly fine. So what's new in March? Who knows really? Everyone in the world's getting vaccinated except for me, because I'm not special at all. I'll be the last gasp. Me. It'll be me and toddlers lining up to be jabbed, but that's all good. But everyone's getting vaccinated. I'm really enjoying everyone's pictures with a little ID card. Have my vaccine. That's all good. Anywho, so yeah, I'm gonna very shortly read my first poem of the evening, which is all incredibly exciting. At least for me, anyway. Maybe not for you. This is largely a vanity exercise for me. But anywho, it's Friday, so let's enjoy ourselves. So, what am I gonna read you? Well, I've been thinking a lot this month about, or I was thinking a bit about it last month. Last month I read the one I'd written about the old pit headgear that's up at Littleton Pit, and it turns out I've thought a lot about those things, and I've written a few other little bits and bobs. So the first thing I think I'm going to read you this month is interesting because for two reasons. One, because I think it's pretty good, and that's always good, isn't it? To read something out and think it'd be awful if I read something out and said, I'm not so keen on this, but I've got it, so you might as well have it. So the first poem I'm going to read this month is called Colliers. And it's impossible to grow up in a little pit town like I have without being sort of suffused with the culture of coal mining and the rich tapestry and culture that brings with it, and I'm hoping to contribute to that in my own small and inimitable way by writing this short poem. Now, I'm only telling you this so I can show off. But this poem is a villanelle. And villanelles are rock hard to write. So the reason I'm telling you is because I'm just showing off a bit, because this is, this took some doing. So a villanelle is an older sort of poetic form, really, and it's about combinations of pairs of rhymes. And if you're interested, there are many videos on YouTube that will help you to write your own. But I would advise you to just steer clear, because it's rock hard, and it will drive you to distraction. So the most famous probably villanelle is by Dylan Thomas, which is "Do not go gentle into that good night." And it's got that amazing repeated rhyme all the way through. And it's a villanelle is sort of like a cycle, if you like, of slightly changing rhyme. Anyway, now I've taught you something and bored you all. I'm gonna read my poem out. So this is called Colliers, and I've got a fancy thing I'm going to do as well, which is very exciting. So so over here I'm just having a chat to you, but then when I want to read you a poem, I'm over here. How cool's that? right? That's just for me. It's just because I've worked out how to do it, and now I'm showing off. And I worried that you'd confuse me just chatting over here and then talking over here. So there you go. So anyway, this poem is called Colliers. We live our lives enshrouded in their might, heaving load by load and ton by ton. They bravely face the dark to bring us light. Toiling underground in endless night, with skills passed from the father to the son, we live our lives enshrouded in their might. Facing death without a hint of fright, trusting muttered prayers, thy will be done, they bravely face the dark to bring us light. Harder than the picks they gripped so tight, every shift a battle to be won, we live our lives enshrouded in their might. Old stories now to callow ears delight are in practised hands expertly spun by those who faced the dark to bring us light. Never asking if the risk was right, nor derelicting duties left undone, we live our lives enshrouded in their might. They bravely face the dark to bring us light. Thanks very much. And then we're back over here for chatting, right? Seamless. I've got a big backstage crew. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's a villanelle, right? And the villain has this repeated pattern of rhyming lines. So mine are, they bravely face the dark to bring us light, and we live our lives enshrouded in their might. And the trick is there's a pattern you have to follow to make them all fit, and it's really hard. And so anyway, that's mine. So yeah, I'll kick you off with a villanelle. Those of you big holler out if you're a big fan of formal structured poetry, which is obviously everyone. So incidentally, if you are watching and you want to say hello to me, you can say hello in the live chat. You can just have a little chat and a little type away, and I'll see it. Unless you're hating this, in which case don't. Just leave it be. If I'm making your skin crawl, then don't say that. But if you're there and you want to say hello, that's all right too. So anywho, yeah. So, and I wrote that because I wrote that for National Poetry Writing Month, which is April, which is coming up. Which is loads of fun, but also dead stressful, because you have to try and write a poem every day. And if you've ever tried to write a poem, it's hard. And Paul, father-in-law's in the group chat. Hang on a second, father-in-law's in the group chat. Does that mean that you're not watching the rugby, or are you double screening? Hello from Emma in Staffordshire. Oh, nice one. Hang on, Nailers, are you both double screening? Because I think the rugby's still going on, isn't it? Or if you're watching me instead of the rugby, I am very well. Now, here's how you judge if you've got a loyal audience, right? If Welsh people are watching you when rugby's on, any rugby at all, but particularly a fairly decisive game for the old Six Nations, you have got a very dedicated crowd. So anyway, cheers everybody, chin chin, chin chin. So. Yeah, I was going to make a rugby related joke then, but it's not my place. It's not my place to. If you are, no, let's move on. Anyway, so the next thing I want to read for you is oddly in a weird sort of way. Yes, double screening, or are you triple screening because you're also playing poker? I think Emma's also triple screening. But anyway, that's not important. No one cares about that, Tom. Let's move on. Yes. The next one, double screen, can't miss the game. Paul, I've got a lot of respect for that. That's fine. I'm glad to have made one of the screens, really. So I'll take that as a big compliment. That's fine. Yes. So what was I talking about? Yes, this is what I was talking about. So the next poem I'm going to write is sort of about which sort of interestingly possibly connects a little bit, is about Britishness, and not really patriotism, but a bit. And I tell you what I'm not going to do on YouTube. I'm not going to rant about flags, because no one. Elizabeth's watching. Elizabeth's double screening with Gogglebox. That's all good. That's fine. I'm quite happy to be a company Gogglebox. That's all good. Yeah, so this poem is yeah, I'm not going to rant about flags because I did that the other day on a Zoom call, and I lost my whatnots. And I tell you what it is, and I'm not going to go on off on one. I tell you what it is. It's I'm getting a little bit irritated with uh, politicians trying to hide their nonsense behind a flag. Doesn't matter what politician, and it doesn't matter what flag. I'm just a little irritated by that. Um, that's fine. I don't want to get into a debate about flags and where they're supposed to be and what they're for. But I find it's a little bit difficult, isn't it? Because people get very worked up about things, and you don't want to upset folk. But at the same time, sometimes people are wrong, and it's important that I tell them several times in a loud voice. No, but what it made me think about was the thing of, because people get very would say, oh well, do you dislike? Is your problem with the flag thing that you dislike your country? And actually, there's lots of things I really like about my country. I'll briefly dive and tell you he's right. Oh, I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again. I was once at a wedding, and I was on a table of people. There was probably 10 of us on the table, right? And there was a song playing, and people were being asked to clap in time to the music, right? And one out of the 10 people was clapping not quite on the beat, but not on the offbeat, just not quite on the beat, just a bit out. And rather than someone say to that person, get it together, everyone around the table, including me, deliberately clapped out of time rather than have the conversation with the one person who got it wrong. Now, that for me, in a nutshell, sums up what it's like to be an English person, possibly specifically, but British is, we can perhaps open that up a little bit, but that's Englishness for me, right? I'm so embarrassed and awkward about that I would rather deliberately badly clap on the beat, which makes my skin crawl, than try and have a conversation, right? And it started me thinking about the things that I like about my country and the things that I like, and they're not necessarily the things that other people might like about it, but that's part of the fun. And so anyway, I wrote a poem about Britishness as I like to think about it, and this is slightly tongue in cheek, but it's a wee ditty about that, and so I'm going to read it for you now. So I'm going to swap over to the. I'll join you over on Poem Cam in just a second, right? Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I'm so proud of that I can do that. It's yeah. So this is it's just called Britishness because I couldn't think of a better title really, and it was getting late. So. Britishness. Britishness is inventive to a ludicrous degree. It just dreamt up the World Wide Web, then gave it up for free. It helped discover DNA and taught Boy Scouts to camp, the corkscrew and the rubber band, the mighty postage stamp. Britishness is fearless, and it will not be dissuaded. It made fighter planes from balsa wood and rode the globe unaided. It's often climbing mountains with naught for warmth but wool. It makes room for one more jam tart when others would be full. Britishness is grumpy and secretly quite pleased when the service is abysmal and the soup tastes like a spleen. It likes to sit and chunter and wonder how you dare with an earring through your eyebrow and your floppy purple hair. Britishness is flamboyant and likes to wear a hat. It likes to fill its shelving with commemorative tat. It likes to look quite dignified and something of a duffer, but underneath's a nipple chain and jodhpurs made of rubber. Britishness insists that things are fair and that they're true. It examines the ID badge before it buys a big issue. Tutting at a bank heist with eyes that deeply burn. A sawn-off shotgun's one thing, but he ought to wait his turn. Britishness is fickle, it won't be pinned down easy. For an island-living sort, sea-going often makes it queasy. From the beach, it will not move when others might retreat. It hammers in a windbreak and pulls socks on icy feet. In the family of nations, it would be a punk non-binary cousin, the single double yoker in a homogenised dozen. Thanking you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So it's just a little, just a wee ditty there about Britishness and how I like. There are some fun things about it that I like, but aren't necessarily what everyone else likes. Uh, like, um, like really, look, Boaty McBoatface. That's what I love about Britain. That we're a nation of people who cannot be trusted to name a boat. Uh, who just cannot help themselves. And I don't think I've ever been more proud of my country than during Boaty McBoatface. Except for when, do you remember, I'm asking you like you're in the room with me now, do you remember when David Blaine put himself in the glass box and dangled himself off a crane, and then people turned up with golf balls and started hitting golf balls at him? That's Britain, and that's what makes me very, very proud. Do you know what I mean? Any other country in the world, he's done those stunts all over the world, and it was like, oh, look at that, what an amazing feat. Here, we were like, I bet I can hit him with a golf ball. No, you can't. Get the golf bag. That's what I'm talking about, right? And I've never been more proud. Do you know what I mean? Those kind of those moments of like, well, that's not how we do things here. Yeah. Anywho, so yeah, it's been a crazy month, and we've been, as I said at the top of this little show here, we've been back at school. And if you're one of my many colleagues, friends who are a teacher, I hope it's going okay. I sort of feel like it's tricky, isn't it? Because on the one hand, briefly, it was like, oh, we're back and there's people and and then suddenly it was like, oh no, I've got to drive and oh, everything's so far away and I've got to remember where the pens are and oh no. Right, it's that kind of, it's like the ultimate back to school feeling I felt. That's how I felt. Maybe you felt differently. But anyway, it's Easter soon, so that'll be okay. And I keep thinking this is the price I have to pay to go to a beer garden, and so and in that score I'm like, well, come on, it's fine. Yeah. So and because of the going back to school thing, I've been thinking a lot about students of mine, past and present, who are sort of exam time and leaving time. And yet again, it's going to be a weird leaving time if you're a year 13 person or a year 11 person. It's going to be strange because your leaving is not quite going to feel like it normally does. It's because you're not going to quite have that finality of the exams. And then it just got me thinking, and there's a poem that I actually wrote it a few years ago now, really, but I kind of tinker with it every now and again and bring it out. And I wrote it for my the group of kids who I was their tutor from like year 7 right the way through to year 13. I took them all the way through for 7 years. I aged a lot in those 7 years, but I sort of wrote it for their leaving assembly, but I've done it at places since, and people seem to quite like it. And since we're all back at school now, and it kind of feels like this sort of thing might be coming to a close. Really, we've said goodbye to like some of our sort of YouTube content makers, people like Maddie Moat and Greg Foot and Joe Wicks, and that kind of stuff is stopping, and that's fine. It's totally fine because that means the world's getting back to normal, but we've kind of come to rely on these things, and now they're opening up a little bit and it's a bit different. So anyway, with that thinking and that sense of like things coming to a close a little bit, or at least things moving on to a new thing, I thought I'd read this poem, and this is going to be my last one of the evening, and I'm hoping before I do that though, so you don't all toddle off. There's a couple of things. One is that I've got a website now, and I'm dead proud of it because I've worked my butt off to make it. It took a lot of things, so you can now find information out about me, not like bank details or anything, although they do you no good at all unless you were feeling very kind and wanted to pop a bit in. But you can find information out about me on tomallsopp.co.uk, and there's like when things open up again and I can do like live dates, there'll be live dates up there when I'm gigging, and shows and theatre and other stuff that I'm doing. Hopefully it'll all go there, because people are forever asking me, when do we find out, where can we find out about what? And I always have to say, your best bet really is to ask me mum. Bump into my mum out shopping, and she's usually got the rundown for that month. But failing that, so now I've got a website. So if you're interested, then tomallsopp.co.uk is like where it's at, and I'm really proud of it because anyway, I'm just really pleased with myself. But I made a website. That's a bit sad, isn't it? But you know, that's where I'm at. And then, anyhow, yeah. Shut up, Tom, and read a poem. So I'm going to read my my last poem of the evening, and it's got a slightly long-winded title, but it's called "Unsolicited Advice from a Once Proud Dreamer." That's which I'm quite pleased with that as a title, really. But you know, anywho, but over here in the poem area, on there, yeah. So it's called "Unsolicited Advice from a Once Proud Dreamer." Your life is more than bits of paper or letters by your name. It's more than making money or momentary fame. You are more than your decisions, but try for good ones if you can, though some pretty awesome people make it through without a plan. I won't say try your hardest. I don't believe in luck. Some of you will work hard and some won't some will find it easy, look as though they had a ball. Some will be unlucky and may not find it at all. Do some things that scare you rigid. Climb a doodah, swim a thingy. Try and row home from Ibiza in a poorly maintained dinghy. Take a chance on telling someone that you love them. Yes, be bold. And try and make a story that's worth hearing when you're old. So now it's 7 summers later and I'm standing on this spot. I'm thinking of tomorrow and the futures that you've got. I guess that what I'm saying is that I think you'll all be fine. And thank you for my memories. The pleasure's been all mine. Oh, I'm back over here in the chatting area. Yeah, smooth, seamless. So, anywho, yeah, that's that's kind of me about to be done, really. Except to say, keep an eye on the website for possibility of live dates. People start talking. People trying to like book things in for like actual real life, going to a pub and talking out loud at people. When this is over, I'll just come to your pub, just you and me, and I'll just read things to you on your own. They haven't even got to be my things. I'll read you the paper. You just ask me. As long as there's a beer tap, I'm happy. Anywho, yeah. So thank you very much for coming and watching, and I will hope to see you next month when it will be April. April, imagine that, crikey, April. Yeah. Anywho. Stay safe. Get your vaccine when you get a chance to get an appointment. Don't be faffing about, wondering about what's going on. Just get them in, let them jab you, and then on to the next. Yeah, keep doing the right things. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Be kind. And I will see you all next month. Thanks very much. Bye.